Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and I am a 39-year-old woman from southeastern Michigan. I live here with my husband and my two kiddos, and right now it is freezing. Happy September, everybody! Are you guys ready for the cold weather? If you're in the same hemisphere as me, if you're not, you're super lucky. I'm so excited for you because that means summer is coming. And if you're anything like me, summer is your most favorite season. So winter is my least favorite season, but that's neither here nor there. I love to knit and I love to crochet and I love yarn. So if any of those things interest you, please stick around and we will definitely be talking about all three of those. So for admin, on this podcast, I give away a pattern every week. So in order to enter for next week's giveaway, just leave a comment down below, and then next week I will go to the YouTube random comment generator that I use and I will put in the URL. It will grab the comments and then pick one randomly. The rules. The rules are that the pattern price has to be $15 USD or under, and that you can only win once a month. So if I draw your name more than once a month, I will draw another name just because I want to keep it fair for everybody, just to give everybody a chance to win. I think that's it for the rules. Oh, one more important thing. If Ravelry isn't accessible to you and you win, just reach out to me. We will figure out a way to get you a pattern without having to use Ravelry. I know that there are different platforms for patterns, and I'm sure that there's one that will work and allow me to gift one to you. Okay, so I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And that should have been the name of this week's winner. So if that was you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. Let me know what pattern that you want, and if Ravelry isn't accessible to you, let me know that as well, and I will get your pattern out to you as soon as I can. Okay, with that all out of the way, happy September, guys. Are you ready? I'm freezing. I know I've mentioned that before, but I'm mentioning it again just because I want to say that I grabbed this cardigan out of my cubby shelf over there because I'm so cold. This is knit from worsted weight Malabrigo Rios. So the color is teal feather, and this is the Thursday special by Elena Nodel. Now, earlier in the year, I made one of these for myself and one for my 9-year-old. And I love this. It's nice and comfy and warm-ish. I'm still cold, so I feel like maybe next time I should start looking into bulky sweaters, but it is what it is. I just wanted to mention this sweater because I did make it this year. I really enjoyed making it. I mean, I enjoyed making it so much I made both my daughter and I one matching but not matching. If you're familiar with Malabrigo Rios colors, hers is magenta, and like I said, mine is teal feather. So, you know, they twinsies but not twinsies. She's 9. Sometimes she will walk up to me and she'll be super excited because I'm wearing a cat shirt and she's wearing a cat shirt, and she'll go, yay, now we're twinsies. So that's where I get it. Okay, so this week in general has been really weird. Now, if you've watched the podcast for a little bit and you've kind of seen, how do I want to say this? You've kind of seen me and you've kind of seen the different patterns that I've worked on. Generally, I tend to focus on maybe 1 or 2 works in progress. That's just been how I've worked, how I've like acted as a knitter. Well, now all of that's out the window because I have quite a bit of whips, and it's odd. So I want to preface this by saying that last week after the podcast, I went through, my son is doing a fundraiser. His class is doing a fundraiser to raise money for a class trip. And there was a fundraising meeting, and I was asked how many knitted hats or how many knitted items I have to maybe give to them so they can sell for fundraising. So I went through, and at last count, I had about 19. Now, this was before we found even more, because we have, I went and I started putting hats in. Do you know those big clear containers that I'm trying to like, they store like Christmas decorations and stuff? I have a smaller one that I just store hats in. And anyways, I found that, and needless to say, I have a bunch of hats, but I wanted to make more. So I actually have a finished item this week, which I wasn't expecting because I just started casting on hats. Now, if you guys don't know, the Joji Locatelli knit along is going on, and that's super exciting for me because I love entering it every year, and I sign up for tons of different projects because I never honestly know what exactly I'm going to feel like knitting on from September to November, which is when it runs. Actually, I think it's the end of November. So it's quite a long stretch of time. So I actually signed up for Odd Stripes, and if you've probably seen me work on this before, if you've been watching for a while, but I love this hat. So, okay, this is one of my favorite hat patterns, and this is how it looks. So we've got a hat, and half of it is stockinette and half of it is pearl. Now, I really like these colors, and I'm going to tell you about the yarn. It is a Shepsha's yarn, and it is 100% acrylic, and it is DK weight. So this hat pattern is in worsted. So I cast on extra stitches in order to accommodate it, but I was able to use everything else to pattern except the stitch count. So I cannot remember the name of the yarn, so I am putting it down below. I usually do that anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I love the yarn because it's recycled acrylic and it's so soft. My favorite part about the yarn in itself is that it's acrylic. Now, when I said I had 19 hats, 19 give or take hats, some of those, in fact, a great majority of those are going to be hand washed. So I wanted to work on acrylic hats because, as you know, especially with little kids, it's a lot better for them to use acrylic hats. But I really did love working on this hat. I thought that it was cute, and it was one of those projects that kind of came out of nowhere. So I did cast on another one, and I am using the same type of yarn, and I've got like one thing I have noticed about this yarn is that it does catch on itself. So be prepared for that. It's not terrible, but it will kind of catch on itself and possibly cause knots if you're pulling out long strands at once. So these are the colors that I'm working on, and I don't think you can really see that very well. So I've got like a gray for the base of the hat, and I have a dark green and a light green. And actually, if you look in here, you can see that I'm using like a light blue, a dark blue, and a gray. So the Odd Stripes pattern uses 2 colors of yarn, but I have all of these Shepsha's balls of yarn in 30-gram balls. I was trying to think of a different way to explain it, but they're basically yarn balls. So I have a bunch of 30-gram Shepshas, different colors, and they're awesome, but there's, like I said, only 30 grams of DK weight yarn. So I'm kind of looking through and looking at different hat patterns to try to figure out what I can use them for, because originally the kit that I got, and it did come as a kit, it was a blanket kit from Shepsha's. I think they do like a knit or crochet along to make a big blanket, and the kit was on sale for like ridiculous. I think it was 50% off or 75% off. I know there's a huge difference between those two, but it was one of them. And I knew that having a bunch of different colors of DK weight acrylic would be very useful for things like blankets, baby stuff, kids stuff, hats, all the things that you need to throw into the washer. So I'm very happy that I got it. And I've just been on the lookout for all different kinds of DK weight yarn, or DK hat patterns, not DK weight yarn. Although I am always on the lookout for yarn, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you ask. Okay, so this is what I'm showing you next. I don't know. Okay, this is my Voyage. Sorry, I have 2 more bags over there, and I'm just gonna grab whatever bag I come up with next, and that'll be what I show you. Okay, this is my Voyage, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. But one thing I have noticed about with color work is that you can only work on it for so long. So this has around 300 stitches on it, and after about like 8 rows, my brain starts turning to mush. So this is what I have right now. And so the goal with the Voyage is that you knit in the round, and you knit, I believe, so many inches. I can't remember how many, but I'm not close to it. And then I am going to start at, I believe you add the arm steek stitches, and you kind of start decreasing inwards because everything is steeked on this. So eventually you have a long tube, and then you cut down the middle of it, and you guys are gonna have to keep your fingers crossed for me because that's kind of scary. I have never steeked anything, and normally I wouldn't be scared of doing it so much, but this is superwash yarn. I am going to need to crochet the steek and then probably hand sew reinforce it just to make sure that this stuff doesn't come out, because like I said, it's superwash yarn. If it was non-superwash yarn, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I don't think. But I do love how it's coming out, and I am just grabbing all of the colors and it's just gonna turn out exactly how it's going to turn out. Now, as you can see at the bottom here, I've got all these yarns. So in watching the Wool and Pine videos that are included with the pattern, they basically tell you to knot the yarn ends and snip them off, because it's not going to matter anyway, because where the yarn ends are, you're cutting right through that and you're reinforcing all of it, and then you're folding it over. Now, I've knotted them, but I don't want to cut them off yet, because as I'm knitting, I just feel like they'll probably come undone if I just knot them and tie them off and then cut them. It'll come undone and start unraveling. Unraveling. Not unraveling. That's not a word. But so I'm just leaving them like that, and it's fine. But other than that, it is basically just a bunch of color work in the round so far, and I like it. My colors are a whole bunch of different mini skeins from a whole bunch of different places, and this color right here is Antique from Blackbird Sycamore yarns. So I'm hoping that I will have a nice colorwork sweater to wear, colorwork cardigan to wear, and then I have something weird in my head. So after this is done, I am already planning to make the Seaglass cardigan. Now, one of my friends, Stephanie, hi Stephanie if you're watching, one of my friends, she pointed out to me that Mark Vogel is doing Seaglass knit along, make along. I'm gonna go with make along because the Seaglass has crochet patterns too. So a Seaglass make along, and I'm super excited about it because I wanted the Seaglass cardigan. But here's the thing with the Seaglass cardigan. It's knit flat. So I don't want to knit it flat. I don't. That's going to be too much. And then trying to weave in all of those ends is not going to make my heart happy. So what I'm thinking is right here. Another thing I want to do with this Seaglass cardigan is work it in fingering weight yarn. So here I am thinking, what if I just made, I don't want to say another Voyage, but I'm going to say another Voyage. What if I just took the Voyage pattern and worked it, but with the 1x1 color work of the Seaglass, and I steeked it at the end, and then I wouldn't have to worry about weaving in ends or any of that. Now it would look different, but I do like the Voyage sleeves, but with the Voyage, the sleeves are plain one color. I wouldn't have to do that. I could still do the 1x1 color work on the sleeves, but they could still have, I could still snip the yarn and then put the sleeves in. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing that, but we'll see. It is a bonus that the Voyage is fingering weight yarn and the Seaglass cardigan is DK weight yarn. The yarn I want to use is fingering weight yarn, and I will be showing you that in a second because I am actually working on something else with that yarn as we speak. But that's what we've got going on. It has not been blocked, so it is rumpled. But I have left quite a bit of give, so it shouldn't bunch up once it blocks out, theoretically. I have been having fun doing lots of color work. I mean, I'm not going to say Odd Stripes is color work, and I'm not really going to say that the next one is color work either, but it kind of is. One row color knitting. There we go, I guess. So this is, do I even have the pattern back here? Hang on, crinkle. No, it doesn't matter. You guys don't care about the black and white pictures. I'm putting up pretty pictures. This is the Stripy Unicorn by Joji Locatelli. And boy, let me tell you about this pattern because I really like this pattern. It is like one row color changes. So I have been using an advent with it, an all pink advent, and a base color. This base color is Mandy's Magenta from Blackbird Sycamore yarn. And I'm hoping that it turns out. So the thing I've noticed about this pattern is I've never knit a sweater like this before. So you basically cast on and then you work the short rows. Now, Joji has you put in, can you see how many markers I have here? Lots of markers. And these double yellow markers mean that it's the raglan marker. So other than that, I have basically 4 raglan markers and a bunch of markers in between the raglan markers. And the increases are staggered. So some rows you're knitting increases one way, some rows you're knitting them the other way, and then this way. And there's really no rhyme or reason that I can tell yet. So I'm super worried I'm messing this up somehow because I don't see any noticeable increases anywhere. Well, I see the increases, but I don't see like any lines or anything. So there's a good chance I am going to knit this, get past the yoke increases, and then take the whole darn thing out and redo it. But with that being said, it is interesting. I did like working short rows in the one row color work. How do I, one row color stripes? There we go. But it was kind of like a brain teaser. So you have a yoke section 1 and then a yoke section 2, and then you divide for the body. For yoke section 1, you are increasing the sleeves and the front and the back. And then for section 2, you're just increasing the front and the back. But I don't know. It's just a lot. Like, I think I'm the type of person that needs pictures when, or almost like a pattern. So if we said every first row you increase these stitches, every second row you increase these stitches, but from what I can tell, I can't really catch anything like that. It's almost like it's random how they're assorted. I know it isn't, but it's almost like my brain is blocking it out. So I mean, it is what it is. You can kind of see the increases, and maybe I've just been looking at it too long, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll either turn out or it'll be a big fail. That's generally how knitting or crafting goes in general, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't have like those websites like that, the ones where they show the memes, like how it looked on Pinterest and how it looked when you made it. And sometimes I feel like my crafting is one of those big memes. But anyways, one way or another, I'm going to get that, the Stripy Unicorn. And all of the pinks that I have are really pretty. I've got them in Ziploc bags, and I actually have the Ziploc bags labeled, and I don't know if you can see that, but it says B. So I have A through D. A is the lightest colors and D is the darkest colors. So it's my goal to kind of graduate the colors and go from lightest to darkest and just see what happens. But I think that's all I really have to say about the Joji pattern, other than I hope that it ends up working out and I don't have to take it out. This is actually the last that I have to show you. And it's actually at a good spot to show you because I just cut the yarn because I just ran out of that ball. So I am making Christmas sweaters and I am starting with a Christmas sweater for my son. And this is the Flax in fingering weight yarn. And it looks awful. I just split for sleeves. And the thing about splitting for sleeves with this one is that I have to keep the sleeves on needles because I am working with a gradient. And the gradient is going to go from this light color to a very, very dark gray, grayish black. Hang on, I'm going to show you. So this will be the next color. And then this. And then this. But last week, I asked my husband if he would help me wind a bunch of minis. So he actually helped me wind the entire pink advent that I'm using for the stripy unicorn. And I haven't wanted to ask him for help for the other minis that I want wound yet. So I'm thinking that I'm going to kind of hand wind them myself later. But this, like I said, is the Flax pattern. And this will be the pattern that I make all of our Christmas sweaters out of because I think it's just a very good pattern. And the reason that I am keeping the sleeve stitches on needles is because it's a gradient. And once I use about 2/3 of the ball on the body, I will start working the sleeves with the remainder of it. And I actually grabbed out my yarn scale to make sure that I weighed before I started the ball and as I'm going, just to make sure that I leave enough for the sleeves. But after I work with this and finish his sweater, I have one to make my daughter, and then I'm going to make myself one. But I found the cutest, we'll talk about it. One of, well actually 2 of my friends showed me this adorable pattern for a dress, and I'm going to show it to you guys because I love it. And I really think that it would make such a cute dress with the yarn that I got for my daughter, the fade yarn. The yarn, by the way, comes from Mousewitch yarns, and I have it's unicorn colors. It's pastel colors for my daughter, and I think that it would look really cute in the dress that I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. But I'm not going to do that. It's going to be Christmas sweaters. Okay. Now let me put that over here. There. Okay. And I'm going to put my pattern away. By the way, this is the stripy unicorn. So you can kind of see on her pictures, the increases, and it is very hard to see those on mine. So honestly, I am just going to double down and keep knitting it and see what happens when I get past the yoke to where you're going to divide for the body. And if it's still not as prominent as I would like, I might keep it. What might I do? I might keep that on the needles and then cast on another one. You know, I didn't mention this. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the stripy unicorn because like I said, I'm all scattered. Do you see the neck right there? Now that is a rolled neckline, obviously. So last week was a holiday weekend for us, and I spent all of Sunday afternoon and evening making ribbing for this sweater, for the neckline, because I'm like, I don't think I'm going to want a rolled neckline. So, and then I started on the striping and I'm like, I don't know if I like using this magenta color. Maybe I want it to be lighter. Maybe I want to use the antique like I'm using for the Voyage. So then I pulled out all of the ribbing that I had done, and I don't ever recommend doing this. Never pull anything out when you're not sure, because you'll end up like me. Don't end up like me. So I pulled it all out and I cast it on with the antique, and I'm like, I don't like that at all. So then I pulled that out and then I cast on with a provisional cast on, because I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like the ribbing regardless. So I cast on with a provisional cast on, and then I just started working on the after the neck. So right here, I actually have all of my provisional stitches picked up, and they're just chilling. They're just waiting, trying to decide what exactly I'm going to do with them. Do I want the rolled neckline? Do I want more ribbing? It's not imperative to know until I figure out if I like what's going on with the body. Because I mean, I do see the increases, and I think part of the reason that it's so hard to see them is because it's on such a small needle. But I kind of work on small needles. It's just easier for me to manage them there. And it makes the project seem like it's faster, so. But that's kind of my neckline woes for that. I really wish that I hadn't ripped out that ribbing before I knew for absolute certain that I didn't want it. Have you guys ever like ripped something out and then realized after it was all out and you can't like Control Z or undo it that you need it back because it wasn't wrong, or you really did like it and all of that? Because it seems like I tend to do that a lot. I think it has to do with not being scared to pull things out, which is both good and bad. Bad because, well, sometimes you actually don't want to pull things out, and good because it's just yarn, right? So that's enough complaining. First of all, I'm going to tell you about some patterns, but the pattern that I want to start with is one that I test knit. And you guys have heard of this before if you've seen my test knit or me talking about it. It is the Willow Pullover, and it is by Andrea Gaughan. And it is a cute fingering weight basket weave sweater. And it was released, I think, last week. And I enjoyed knitting it. And it is knit with, did I say fingering weight? It is, did I? I have fingering weight on the brain. It is DK weight, so you can just ignore that. I should know that because I knit it with DK weight yarn. The gauge is 20 stitches and 32 rows to 4 inches. And the stitch that she has the stitch defined as eyelet basket weave. And the needle size that you need is 4.0 and 3.25. So it's very size inclusive, and the sizes available are 1 through 12, which I do not have written down as to what they correlate to, but there's quite a few different size ranges. And I just wanted to share that because I know I've talked about it a lot, but I just wanted to let you guys know that the pattern was out. Okay. And I have it printed out twice, so that doesn't help me. Okay, this is the only other sweater top that I have to show you. I saw this on Instagram, so I go through Instagram and look at all the stuff quite a lot. I'm sure that you guys do too, right? I can't be the only one who does this. This is called the Erla top, and it is by Valentina Bogdanova. I'm going to put the designer's name down below. I don't want to mispronounce it. This is knit in fingering weight yarn, and the gauge is 27 stitches and 34 rows to 4 inches in stockinette. Now it's 34 inches to 66 inches. Now, okay, I want to show you the pictures because of the neckline. Do you see how pretty that is? I don't know that I've ever seen a neckline like that. I said this was knit in fingering weight yarn. I am right now wondering what fingering weight yarn I have I could make this with, because it is so pretty. And it says, discover the elegance of the Erla top, a sophisticated addition to any knitter's collection, crafted from the softest blend of silk and yak yarn. Wow, who made the yarn? Yak Silk by A Knitter's World. Fingering weight yarn. It's 50% yak and 50% silk. Have I ever mentioned before that I've always wanted to try yak yarn? And the reason that I've always wanted to try yak yarn is because I've heard that yak kind of makes the dye more moody. So there's moody undertones to the yarn after it's dyed or before it's dyed. I mean the base is actually darker. That's what I'm saying. So I think that it would be really fun to see where you could get this yarn. It says, ideal for intermediate and advanced knitters, the Erla top invites you to master its delicate design using fine 2mm size 0 and 2.5mm US size 1.5 needles. The range of positive ease across sizes is 6 to 7 inches. The picture shows size 3 with longer yoke and 7 inches of positive ease. Please consider the finished chest measurements when choosing your size. But man, look at the design on that. Oh, it's so pretty. I wonder if that would cause me to pull my hair out. It looks so difficult and so intricate. Do you guys want to see a pattern like that? I don't know. I have so much planned, but I really want to try that. I love it. Okay, so I said that I've been looking at different types of hats, and all sorts of weight hats, although I have been concentrating most on DK weight. So I'm going to show you a couple of hats. Now, this is the Grace Gardens cap, and it is by Shelby Nichols. And it is a really pretty worsted weight hat. It uses a cable sequence to add texture to a stranded stockinette hat and is a perfect project for beginners who want to try cables. Now, I really loved the way that these cables look because they kind of melt into each other. And the pictures that I put up on the screen are going to do a better job of explaining it. But I have a bunch of Cascade 220 worsted, and I feel like that would be perfect for this hat. It says, check out the Choppy Waters cap with a different take on a similar technique. And there's even a coupon code that says that on this person's Ravelry pattern page that says that if you get a second pattern, it will let you get it 50% off. So if you're taking a look at this pattern, make sure you take a look at another one just because you'll be able to get one for half off. I am definitely in a hat knitting mood today. This is the last pattern that I have to show you, and this is the one that I'll probably talk about longest because, like I said, two of my friends brought up this pattern to my attention, and it's so cute. So this is called Moana, and it is by Rachel Evans. And when I show you this, you're definitely going to understand why I think the gradient yarn would be perfect for this. So this is so pretty. It is just a cute little dress. Now, if I show my daughter this dress, she's going to lose her mind. And she's definitely going to want this pattern. So this uses DK weight yarn, which will be an issue because the yarn that I have for a gradient is fingering weight. So I'm going to have to think, what type of gradient do I have in DK? I don't think I have any. Okay, we'll get back to that. So it says, a Southern Hemisphere spring freebie. Moana will be free for the month. So if you are interested in this pattern at all, go to the page before the month is over because it's free just for this month. And it's really cute. If you have a little girl in your life that you would want to make a dress for, or even if you don't, you could make it for a future baby or a future kid, or you could donate it. I couldn't think of a little girl who wouldn't like this unless they were a little girl like me who didn't like dresses at all. But my daughter loves dresses, so it is what it is. The gauge on this is 22 stitches and 30 rows. So that's 4 inches in stockinette stitch. Your needle size is 4mm to 5mm. And your yardage is 200 to 750 yards. So the sizes available are newborn to 10 years. It says Moana is a light and beautiful summer dress with a gorgeous shape and drape. It is knit from the top down and features a V-neck, lacy sleeve cast off, and a 4-point skirt. The dress is seamless and knit from the top down. That is perfect for gradient yarn. The bodice is knit at gauge, starting off being knit flat and then carried on in the round after joining under the arms. The skirt is knit on bigger needles at a looser gauge to make it light and give it gorgeous drape. Like I said, the sizes available are newborn from 10 years old. And the 10-year-old has 28-inch chest. Oh my gosh. I'm still trying to think, like, so I'm trying to come up with in my head what type of gradient yarn I can think of that's DK weight, because I think that this pattern specifically would lend itself very well to like a fade. And I know that Hobie has Wheel of Alpaca, which my daughter really loves. I made her, if you go back in my videos, I made like a yellow to purple star blanket for her, and the Wheel of Alpaca, I think it has like 1,000 yards in it, so it's a huge cake, and you can get it for $22-ish on sale on Hobie's website. But I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm sure there is, I just don't know any offhand. I wish it were fingering weight. It would make it so much easier on me. All of my yarn is fingering weight, basically. Okay, enough dreaming. I still have... Let's take a look at my knitting plans. So, Voyage cardigan, and then the Seaglass. I've got the Stripy unicorn that I'm working on, and I have my son's Flax sweater. Now, I also have my daughter's Flax sweater and my Flax sweater, and those flaxes are for Christmas, so I have a little bit. But I also have the Kiviot yarn that I haven't worked with yet, that is actually sitting cast on, that I haven't started yet because I've got all these projects and I'm just not used to having so many. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the knitting. I don't want to drone on and bore you guys, so I think that's all for the knitting and crochet. No crochet this week. I do want to start casting on some star blankets because the Pigskin party is the Pigskin party has started, and it started I think last Friday, and I joined, and I am on team 12, and every year it is just a fun way to kind of, I don't want to say compete, more like participate. So basically what happens is, if you're interested, you can go to the Down Cellar Studio group on Ravelry, and you can read the rules and sign up there. And I'll probably put a QR code for the rules up on the screen. So you can sign up and you will get put on a team. And once you're on a team, you can participate in certain activities. Like there's a tailgate talking challenge, I think. Maybe it's just a tailgate challenge where you just answer questions in your team's group about yourself. And basically throughout the football season, you just submit forms whenever you're done with a project, whether it's knitting, crochet, machine knitting, and I think spinning, maybe weaving, I don't know. I only know the 3 because I do the 3. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be weaving and or spinning. But don't take my word for it. I linked the rules. So anyways, I joined the Pigskin Party Challenge, and one of the things I love making, and one of the things that would go good for a fundraiser for my son, is the crochet star blankets. So I'm going to start looking for some different acrylic weight yarn I can use for that. Okay, that's all for the knitting and crochet. I am not going to talk about life this time. There is nothing going on. Not a thing. I hope that you guys are having an amazing September, whether that means like fall's fall's just around the corner and pumpkins are going to start coming out and Halloween and all sorts of fun stuff, or it means that spring is almost here and summer's coming up and barbecues and all that fun stuff. So whether you are in group A or group B, I hope that you're having an awesome September, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.